Ladies and gentlemen, I want you. This is your big headliner for the night. He's a wonderful comic. I've known him for about 10 years now, and he's very, very funny. I follow him on Facebook. Give it up for Marc Ragovin, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. How you guys doing? Good. I'm just going to stand under the light for about 5 minutes to defrost from being out there. So, actually some breaking news I heard while I was out there. The House just voted unanimously to impeach Bernie's comb. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I bought one of these calendars for work, one of these desk calendars, 365 facts in a year. You know what I'm talking about? You rip it off every day, and it tells you little interesting factoids. Like the cheetah's the fastest land animal, stuff like that. Except I think that mine came from a defective batch, because this is what I've learned so far. In Wisconsin, lactose intolerance is a hate crime. Every year in the U.S., an average of 15 clowns are seriously injured in balloon animal attacks. To ease his future in-law's fear, rap singer Pitbull told him his real name was American Staffordshire Terrier. The most awkward event in history? The groundbreaking ceremony at the first shovel factory. It's a visual. Although Germany and Japan were utterly defeated in World War II, they were still awarded participation trophies. During the high inflation days of the late 1970s, many porno films had to limit the money shot to a firm, heartfelt handshake. And due to the Screen Actors Guild's high wage scale, the featured performers in today's porno flicks are nurse practitioners. Orville Wright and his girlfriend were the first members of the 18 Feet High Club. Israeli archaeologists recently spotted an 8-foot-long piece of paper with writing on it that they suspected might be a long-lost Dead Sea Scroll. But it was just a CVS receipt. President Bush thinks a leotard is a mentally challenged lion. Every CIA agent's first mission is cracking the building's bathroom code. Bottlenose dolphins have been childproof since 1983. Nobody has ever walked into an oxygen bar and asked, what kind of isotopes are on tap? In Alaska, 3 connected blocks of ice on the ground is called a starter home. The most ambitious limbo dancers set the bar very low. It's another visual. In 2011, American Airlines started imposing a surcharge on passengers with extra large bags under their eyes. Due to a revolutionary new technique, most plastic surgery patients can now literally pay through the nose. The woman who invented the spectrometer was shocked to discover her husband's true colors. Am I right, ladies? Underdog refused to eat his superpower energy pill unless it was smothered in peanut butter. Bernie says that after he's through with the gazillionaires, he's going to rid the country of 1% milk. After a while, most Nebraska fairgoers and their corn dogs begin to look alike. 95% of the attendees at every model airplane convention are very wound up. I appreciate it. Siskel and Ebert's review of the movie version of A Tale of Two Cities was, it was the best of films, it was the worst of films. Paul Revere was able to make his ride so quickly because he was in the horse occupancy vehicle lane. Speaking of Paul Revere, he wanted to start his ride at 11:59 p.m. so he could claim a pay differential for working 2 days. It's a little collective bargaining humor. Criminal reform advocates are now demanding that hockey players sent to the penalty box for more than 10 minutes be allowed conjugal visits. Chris, thumbs up on that one? MIT professors changed their sexual positions based on the results of a random number generator. The members of the band One Direction were nearly killed when their tour van's GPS malfunctioned. One Direction fan here. And I have no idea about who's in that group, I just know they exist. The town of Incline Village, Nevada can be adjusted to fit your workout needs. "86% of tightrope walkers have found a perfect mix of work-life balance." By the way, I have a lot of free time at work, if you haven't figured that out already. Mr. Fields realized his marriage was on the rocks when the missus started screaming, "Amos, Amos, oh God, yes, Amos," during sex. The biggest opponents of tuition-free college? Strip club owners. Cliff Jumpers Anonymous is famous for its one-step program. You're either cured or you're not. Most of the arthritic Puritans would have settled for a shining city on level ground. To get better feedback, the Mafia has created RateMyKneecapper.com. A panic room is now defined in the place in the house where a person realizes they can't find their cell phone. Pharmaceutical commercials during the Middle Ages urged viewers to ask your doctor about leeches. Duke Ellington followed up the very popular Take the A Train with the less popular Take the A Train. except on weekends during the summer, from 12 a.m. Saturday to 5 a.m. Monday. For alternate service, take the D to Columbus Circle and transfer to the NRR train, or take the C to Penn Station and, screw it, just walk. 97% of the people who attempt suicide by laying across the New York City subway tracks ultimately die of old age. In New York City, if the person in front of you unsuccessfully swipes their Metro card 3 times, you're permitted to shoot them. This is interesting. The North Face has announced that in 2021 is going to market a backpack that will take up an entire subway car. The MTA now defines subway panhandling as crowdfunding. Economic research has revealed that 99-cent stores do best when the dollar is weak. Marie Curie's jealous classmates would taunt her to, quote, get a half-life. There wasn't a dry eye at Aquaman's wedding. On the bright side, the 20 paces put Hamilton over 10,000 steps for the day. Sure, Mr. Ed talked a good game of horse. Astrophysicists theorized that in a parallel universe there will be a lot of striped shirts. Today's youngsters are so tech savvy, 78% of sonograms are now selfies. Had it not been for the shipwreck, the professor would have returned to his college and taught a 3-hour course. A 3-hour course. Amoeba interested in their genealogy can now subscribe to oneandme.com. Egyptian scholars now believe that 91% of mummies were just average guys who forgot their safe word. The first case of carpal tunnel syndrome was an Egyptian who tried to calculate pi on an abacus. It's another visual. The Fountain of Trevi no longer accepts cash. In Iowa restaurants, children's placemats come with a real corn maze. In Florida, it's a felony to compare apples to oranges. Every Vermont house has a meter to measure maple syrup usage. In California, murderers who suffocate their victims with a plastic bag have an extra 10 years added to their sentence. Temporary license plates in New Hampshire read, live free or slip into a shallow reversible coma. As a girl, Martha Stewart played in the bathtub with a fleet of toy gravy boats. Due to pressure from PETA, magicians must now coax rabbits out of hats using positive reinforcement. Zorro's mother had a Z-section. And you notice the way I switched hands to do that one? Right to it. Took me 3 years to panda. As Indiana governor, Mike Pence signed a bill prohibiting Mr. Softy vendors from using rainbow sprinkles. In 2012, Pence signed an executive order designating the praying mantis Indiana's state animal. Pence once outlawed the three-way electrical outlet. In 2015, Pence authorized the commission to study homeopathic medicine because, quote, it just doesn't sound right. Pence once ordered Indiana botany textbook publishers to delete all references to cross-pollination. Mike Pence's biggest conundrum? The Sex Pistols. Trump's biggest conundrum? Electric golf carts. Chuck Schumer has an aide whose sole function is to catch his glasses if they slip too far down his nose. If you turn on the news tonight, you'll probably get it. What else? The world's greatest ventriloquist gave his own eulogy. Lewis and Clark became hopelessly lost during their kids' college tours. Lionel Richie is so old his first computer was a Commodore. I'm hitting a common chord here while I'm thinking of my next joke. What else? Mr. Toussaint always said no one could hold a candle to his wife. Auguste Rodin said the secret to a successful relationship is to always place the woman on a pedestal. After a heated argument with his wife, Marconi became the first person to learn the meaning of the expression radio silence. He invented the radio. When William Henry Harrison ran for president, he promised that if elected, he wouldn't serve a second month.
Too soon.
Too soon? 37% of hockey players claim they lost their virginity in the back seat of a Zamboni. I do that one always for Chris. The most popular housewarming gift ever? Thermostat. One day after the Dutch purchased Manhattan, the Indians held their buy one borough, get one borough free sale. Most bookstores locate their mystery section in the last place you'd suspect. Noah brought the ark in for a wash one day before the flood. All right, you ready? I'm going to start the silly stuff. Over 750,000 Americans are allergic to styrofoam peanuts. Actor Terry Kaiser prepared for the lead role in Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's, everybody? Prepared for the lead role in Weekend at Bernie's by spending 6 months in a reversible coma. Mr. Rogers' funeral was interrupted by a pledge drive. Mr. Rogers' gravestone reads, "There goes the neighborhood." The gravestone of the man who invented Cliff Notes reads, "To make a long story short." When the man who founded Del Monte Foods died, he was packed and buried in his own juices. I'm going to do this one because I like it, but we'll see. Michael Jackson's gravestone reads, "I'll be here." That's what I expected. What else? In 1991, ophthalmologists concluded that people should not stare directly at their radios when a total eclipse of the heart is playing. In 1965, the Supreme Court overturned Mississippi's ban of the black and white cookie. Ironically, most Quakers don't have time for breakfast. In Detective Comics number 387, the Riddler finally outfoxed Batman by asking him to solve a problem like Maria. Lou Costello and his wife would often interrupt their lovemaking sessions for a 15-minute routine of who's on top. To spice up their lovemaking, Einstein would insist that his wife call him the numerator. That's the one on top. Trust me. I looked it up. Melinda Gates often pauses during sex to ask Bill if she can opt for a product upgrade. Phil Rizzuto would often pause during sex to announce Yankees fans' birthdays. You have to be a certain age to get that one. He would announce birthdays during the games. Before the invention of tear gas, police would immobilize suspects by spraying them with painful childhood memories. Before the invention of radar, air traffic controllers would track planes by opening their windows and yelling, "Marco!" Thank God. Before the invention of the periscope, every submarine had at least one crew member with an extremely long neck. Before the invention of laxatives, pharmaceutical companies would scare the crap out of you by bottling your third-grade bully. Although Mother Teresa witnessed many disturbing things during her lifetime, she was most tormented by the lack of defense in every NBA All-Star game. The number one reason that most people move to the West Coast is so that during football season they can watch 60 Minutes at its regularly scheduled time. Benjamin Franklin's lazy brother discovered static electricity. Johann Gutenberg's jealous sister invented the shredder. Thomas Edison's obnoxious nephew invented the clapper. All right, I'll give you two more. And this is the one. This is my favorite one, and this is the one that's got me here. No, seriously, this is the one. It's got me gigs all over in the back of restaurants and car washes, in Gap dressing rooms. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt holds the world's record for most frequent victim of identity theft. And if you don't get it now, I guarantee at about 3:15 in the morning, you're going to pop out of bed, and it's going to come to you. I'm going to leave you with this. When Bernie plays Monopoly, the banker spends the entire game in jail. Guys, it's been a wonderful audience. Get home safely.
Marc Ragovin, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't just take tickets. Seriously, later tonight, you're going to be going, John Jacob, Jingle, where the hell did that come from?